and this is
Jet Black, the one and only.
And today we are going to be talking about a pretty serious topic on, I believe it's either the third or second episode of Our Nation Reaction. Today we're going to be reacting to the bombings in Syria, specifically from Western nations. Hey, what's up, Bernie Gers?
Good to have you, Bernie.
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you so much.
You probably don't want to say his full name.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, your battery's low.
Yeah, a little bit.
You may want to charge during. That's what I normally do.
All right, I'm gonna do that. But today we're going to be talking about, hey, what's up, Federal Republic of Tupos? Hey, what's up,
good
Kirby?
To see you,
Everyone's
good to see you, Kirby.
up.
Yeah.
Today we are going to be talking about the bombings in Syria from Western powers on Russia and Syria over chemical attacks. So it's a pretty serious topic. We're going to be looking into the news. We're going to be looking into what's going on with it, and we're going to be giving you guys feedback and thoughts as far as a micronational standpoint, as far as a tech standpoint, and just overall. So let me charge my phone so we don't die in the middle of it.
So let's see. Bernie asked, are we going into World War III?
That is a good question.
One thing that I'd like to cover first before we dive too deep into it is I'm on The Guardian right now, and The Guardian has a section that's like what we know so far. So if we read over what we know so far real quick, it'll give everyone a solid platform of information that we're treating as like this is what has happened. And then we can work our way from there. So what we know so far, again, this is from The Guardian. Donald Trump has launched airstrikes alongside the UK. I got some lag on the stream. Still got some lag on the stream. There we go. Donald Trump has launched airstrikes alongside UK and French forces aimed at reducing Syrian regime's chemical weapons facilities in the wake of last weekend's gas attack on the Damascus suburb of Douma. Oh, I didn't know about the attack. Mm-hmm. Also, do you want to go back and forth reading the paragraphs?
Sure.
Okay.
Moments after the president's address finished, reports emerged of explosions in Damascus. A Pentagon briefing later confirmed 3 sites were hit, 2 in Damascus and 1 in Homs. The sites were all regarded as linked to the storage or testing of chemical weapons. Syrian air defenses responded to the strikes, but the U.S. said it had suffered no losses in the initial airstrike.
Anatoly Antonov, the Russian ambassador of the U.S., said, such actions will not be left without consequences, and said Moscow was being threatened. Insulting the president of Russia is unacceptable and is inadmissible, he added.
My question, how is it insulting the president of Russia? It seems like the whole idea is they were trying to respond to the use of chemical weapons, which most Western states have just said that's not a good idea. We don't want anybody having chemical weapons, no matter who it is. So then I guess the Russian people, or specifically the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, would be upset by the fact that they hit bases that were built by Soviets, but they're also considered separate. Sorry guys, we had some lag there, but we're just jumping back in. So the whole thing I was saying, sorry Bernie, my actual name is the Tuposian Empire. Okay, hey Tuposian Empire. People are saying, if you build something somewhere and then someone's doing some fucked up shit there, why would you be I'm upset?
It is interesting, why it would be considered an insult. Maybe he felt like the U.S. could have handled it better. Maybe we should have talked to Russia and said hey, we don't support this. We're gonna do this attack on Syria. We just want you to know, maybe? Maybe the Russian ambassador just feels outside the loop and he's taking it too far. He's like, what the fuck? Why didn't anybody tell me we were doing that? Kind of thing.
Maybe so, but I also felt like it might have been purposeful that they didn't tell them, because if they were saying, because you never know what kind of talks they had previously about it. If there was that sort of thing going on, it might have been a situation where Russia was just that's not happening. Syria's our friend. That's not the case.
Well, maybe that's the insult to Russia's president, is the fact that we attacked an ally to Russia if Syria and Russia are allies. I'm not very political. I don't know a lot about this kind of thing.
No, I'm sure that's very true, but at the same time, if there are certain things, Russia's a part of the UN, and the UN has specific doctrines saying you can't do. I believe Syria might be a part of the UN. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah.
But I know Russia is, and the whole thing with the UN is they're no chemical attacks. It's a brutal thing in warfare. watch this over here since I, for some reason, can't watch on Winslow's channel when using YouTube
Gaming, which is
Uh-oh.
interesting. Kirby said, we haven't exactly been receiving friendly actions from Russia recently. Also, don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for liking as well. I really appreciate it. But no, it's definitely a very confusing thing. I feel like for the case that this is going in, I don't know that Russia will have a whole lot of like power to fight back, because they can. They could definitely decide we're going to launch airstrikes or whatever again, but then I feel like it would just become a thing where the UN would step in, and it'd be like a ton of nations just going like, no.
It may be, because I kind of see where you're coming from. It could be a situation where if Russia does take that like initiative to say like, you guys fucked up because you hit one of our allies, everyone else could be like, no, Syria fucked up. And even if you're friends with Syria, you should still be like,
That's
Syria fucked up. Yeah.
Well, because I mean, that's the whole idea with North Korea. Like, China supports North Korea, and they're like openly allies. But if North Korea is like, we're gonna launch a nuke at the U.S., China has to be like, that's not cool. You can't do that. Because then if they did, China couldn't be like, that's fine. Because then everybody else would be like, no, they killed millions of people. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah, you shouldn't support that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I could see definitely where like there are lines being drawn, and maybe Russia doesn't know how to feel. It would be the kind of thing where you're like, Syria is our ally, and it's not okay that you attacked our ally. But Syria fucked up, and it's not okay that Syria fucked up. So it could be a thing where the Russian ambassador is trying to say, I'm not saying that Syria did something good, but I'm also not saying that I like supported what the U.S. did.
And I guess that's a legitimate argument to make. I definitely feel like that's fair. But I guess I feel like because, first off, because of specifically Donald Trump's like ideas of being more aggressive on things like that, I feel like I don't know how well diplomacy, how well he was specifically caring about diplomacy, but also it might have just been like a group decision that they were like, nah, fuck Russia. I don't know.
Kirby in the live chat said, I've heard that Russia, when threatening to bomb our athletes when the last Winter Olympics in Sochi happened, threatened to bomb our athletes?
Damn.
That's such an odd thing to threaten.
Like, why the athletes? What's going on?
America cannot win the Olympics. Not in Sochi.
Damn.
I don't know. That does seem like a really weird situation.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, wouldn't it just hurt them? It's like in their place.
Like if everyone's there,
yeah.
Why would you?
Well, and also because it's in their.
Oh.
It's in like Russia.
You bomb something in Russia. Maybe it's just not a big bomb. Maybe you're like, we're gonna bomb where they are, but not like everybody. So maybe like the sleeping quarters of like the U.S. athletes. He could have been like, fire the hole, and be like, hey, we got him, and we got him on our own turf. Don't fuck with us. We're winning our Olympics.
But then you just start like a huge war
Beef.
over. You'd start like a huge war over. We wanted to kill some athletes for no reason.
Do you think if like Russia killed like Olympic athletes, that would be like war territory? Like you fucked up too hard over like some petty shit?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a petty war. I'm not saying that like lives don't matter, but it like a world war because you killed I mean,
well, for example, World War I was started because Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated.
But wasn't he like a big like political?
He was, but it was one dude.
I mean, I get that it was like
started
one dude.
like wars between everybody.
True. Oh, we're experiencing some
like
lag.
People that it didn't even really affect all that much. They were
okay.
like,
We're back.
Our allies jumped in,
nope.
So we got to jump in.
I thought we were back. The lag is too real. Kirby said, if they were waving American flags when the Olympic fire starts. Oh, so if he threatened to bomb the athletes, like the U.S. athletes, if they waved American flags when the fire started, like the Olympic fire that you like light with the torch or whatever. So it was like, if you don't do that, then it's fine, we won't bomb.
Damn, that's really specific.
That is very specific.
Why couldn't everyone just fly their flags? Or just, I guess, no one?
Why just the U.S.?
Yeah.
No, you guys don't. I don't approve. Stop.
Well, maybe it was a thing like Russia just wanted their flags to fly. So they were like, we don't have to threaten the other countries. They just won't.
Yeah, we just know the U.S. is all in their feelings.
Yeah.
I know at least one nigga would be really bad
The
and
US
be like,
is Drake
I'm
in this
gonna
situation.
do it anyways. And I'd be like, oh, he asked for it. We told him.
Hey, thanks for the 3 likes.
Yeah. Currently, we have like inverse things.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
have
say.
3 likes and 1 viewer, and I got like 3 viewers and 1 like.
Mm-hmm.
With balls over here. I'm sorry to hear
Hey,
that.
what's going on? Thank you. Suck my tip, Jim. Just the tip, baby. Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for subscribing. That's a really long name that you have, but I'm glad you appreciate the channel, and I'm glad you like our discussion we're having. Currently, we have 0 people watching. 1 person
Yeah,
watching.
1. Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
You probably got like Jim on there right now.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Jim? So yeah, this is what we're talking about. This is what we're going for.
Yeah, okay. It looks like... Oh, we didn't even really
Hey,
finish
Shu. Hey, what's up?
reading the thing. We actually, like, went part of the way down, and then we had, like, a solid discussion. We should probably cover more of the points.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
I think I read the last one.
Okay, so the British Prime Minister Theresa May said she authorized targeted... Oh, my bad.
This is the... Yeah.
The U.S. President said the attack in Doma was a week ago represented a significant escalation in a pattern of chemical weapons use by the Assad regime. He said, we are prepared to sustain this response until the Syria regime stops its use of prohibited chemical agents. So my thing is, that might have been a statement prepared. Hey, 4 likes. Thank you guys so much.
Hey.
I feel like that was a statement prepared by the office of the president.
And not
that
Trump
shit doesn't
himself.
sound like Trump.
Yo, Cell Ice, he's crying.
Call Ice, he's crying. Hey,
Oh,
what's
okay.
up, Call Ice? I'm glad you subbed. Thank you so much
for
for
subbing
loving
to the
channel.
Empire Aeternia.
Absolutely, it means a lot to us. Every sub means that you are now a citizen of the nation. So thank you so much for joining us, helping us to define our culture, helping us to give you the face of the nation. So thank you so much.
Kirby says he sees 5 likes. That's a weird glitch on live streams. They always see 1 more.
Oh,
I don't get it.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's because their like isn't processing or whatever. I don't know, but I don't know.
No, that doesn't make sense. He's
That's
seeing
it.
an additional, not like
Okay.
1 less.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said Trump didn't say what. So there's a really descriptive statement that was given in this article that says by the president, but it doesn't sound like something Trump would say at all himself.
Yeah.
It might have been from the office of the president. I'll just read it real quick again if you don't mind.
Yeah.
The U.S. president said about Doma a week ago, it represented a significant escalation in a series of Oh no.
Don't
Okay.
tap it. Yeah, there
In
you
a
go.
pattern of chemical weapons use by the Assad regime. He said, we are prepared to sustain this response until the Syrian regime stops its use of prohibited chemical agents.
It sounds like something that was prepared by, like, speech writers kind of thing, and not like what Trump would say. Trump
Right.
would be like, don't do it.
Yeah.
It would be like a very simple, I'm Trump answer, and that'd be like about it.
He'd just be like, we gotta bomb Syria. That doesn't sound like Trump. Exactly. May I ask who we is? We, I guess the U.S. and
Yeah,
its allies.
Yeah.
What do you mean? That doesn't sound like Trump. What do you mean? I don't know. It seems like Trump has more of a freehand way that he goes about talking about things.
It's very casual when
Absolutely.
like Trump makes a statement versus when you can tell that Trump is saying something that someone told him to say.
Absolutely. It sounds disingenuous to who he is as a person, as his own like political framework.
Yeah, Trump is the kind of guy who in this situation would throw out like a fire and fury line. Like he would say something that's a little overtly aggressive and casual for like his position to say, because it has too much of a like grasp of I'm just gonna fuck you up,
Right.
rather than I'm speaking on behalf of like an entire nation.
Right. But this seems just like more a blanket official statement. So I'm sorry, if you want to continue. It's almost like another speech writer wrote this. Exactly, because he sounds like a Robert type of guy. Interesting, a Robert type of guy.
Yeah, what does that mean,
What's
a Robert type of guy?
Is he related to Ice, and is Ice still crying? Hey, what's up? Are you ready to rumble scum? Thank you so much for subbing. Oh my god, I'm getting so many subs.
Yeah.
Ah, I love it. Thank you guys so much. It means the world. You are now a citizen of the Empire of Aeternia, so I'm glad you're joining us here. I'm glad you're getting to talk to us about this crazy Syria Assad regime stuff. But you're joining a new nation at a good time, so thank you so much.
Most definitely. Tell your friends, share this video with your friends.
Absolutely, please do.
Let's see. The next update. The British Prime Minister Theresa May said she authorized targeted strikes to degrade the Syrian regime's chemical weapons capability and deter their use.
Oh, damn.
Taking a swipe at Russia, she said, we cannot allow the use of chemical weapons to become normalized within Syria, on the streets of the UK, or anywhere else in our world. We would have preferred an alternative path, but on this occasion, there is none.
So I really like the distinction between, at first I was like, why are they putting all these official statements in there? And I guess because it's important to see the different political perspectives of different countries. So the US is like, we're not even going to mention Russia because we have such strong, like, intense beef with Russia, like, under the table. 40 subs hype. Oh, what's up? Yeah, 40 subs. 40 subs. So is there a war? Not yet. I'm not really political, just here. Thank you so much, Kirby. The interesting thing about politics is you can take any direction with it. So, I mean, whatever your specific focus on it is, we might get into tech stuff with it a little bit.
Yeah.
You never know.
I'm also not very political, but I like discussions in general, and I can like try and do my best to put in my own input.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the whole idea. If you have something you think of or just want to ask a question about, there's no wrong answers.
Yeah, this is definitely the kind of thing where it's not just a discussion between Winslow and I, it's a discussion with all of you. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, definitely put them in the live chat and we'll try to address them.
Yeah.
And if we, for whatever reason, don't get to something in the live chat, you can discuss it in the live chat with other people who are also there.
Absolutely. And it helps us learn. Are you ready to rumble? Scum said, so Syria could gas British. I think the whole thing is, what Theresa May was saying is that they might not be targeting Britain right now, but that if they were to allow things to go on, if the British feel like if they didn't bomb Syria or make a threat toward Russia by doing that, that it could then potentially be something that spreads outward from Syria to other countries and get into Britain, which they wouldn't want. So they feel like they're preemptively striking. The whole thing for me is the U.S. just said, let's bomb them. Okay, so you're on board with it. That's interesting. Okay, so we definitely have the opinions starting to come out. I'm not sure how I feel on it. I feel like it's good to stop chemical warfare, but I just don't know enough about it. My whole thing is, it was interesting. The U.S. said, I'm going to read the live chat in a second. I'm just trying to get this thought out. I feel like the problem, or the difference between these two things, the U.S. has said, they've just mentioned Syria. They're just saying we're attacking Syria. Britain said we're also making a thing toward Russia. Like the U.S., I feel like doesn't want to say that because it's sort of hyping up like Cold War. Cold War? What? Cold War? Do you want to start a war? Whereas Britain's like, we'll do it. We're down.
Put up your dukes.
Yeah. And I don't think the U.S. is quite ready for that. So let's check the live chat. She's smart. Theresa May is smart. The only politics I expose myself to is firearms control. That's definitely an important topic and definitely one for another day. I'm sure we'll tackle it at some point.
It's definitely a similar but different topic.
Very true.
Yeah, firearms control is normally discussed when it comes to like the citizen level of what like we're allowed to have, where this is more of like a military level,
And
what
like a
the world
national.
agrees is okay for you to have.
Absolutely. I claim that's a lot of acres of land. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Hopefully, Maine doesn't start happening. I actually don't know what Maine is. So
It's
Kirby-
what started World War II.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Would you be able to explain that? Just because I don't know.
So M is like militarism, A is alliances. By the way, I'm just reading what Kirby's saying in the other live chat.
Are
I
you
asked
ready
him
to
about
rumble,
it.
Scum? There isn't a war currently. Sorry, let me clarify that. There isn't a war currently. The U.S. made an airstrike in Syria. Syria hasn't declared war on the United States, and because I think it's a big political sort of dispute. Russia is allied with Syria, so if Syria went to war officially against the U.S., it would prompt Russia to sort of feel obligated to go to war against the U.S. If Russia went to war against the U.S., it'd become a huge thing because Along with the US bombing Syria, Britain and France also helped to bomb Syria. So they'd be signing up for a war against all those other countries, which could potentially let the UN come in and all these problems. And because it all started from Syria's gas attacks, I think Russia's starting to try to tell Syria not to start a war with the U.S. And also, I feel like Syria doesn't have the funding to start a war with the U.S. and win.
New update. Syria released a news statement that essentially is saying, hey, they're claiming that they hit a chemical weapons thing, but what they actually hit were a few of our educational centers and a science lab or whatever,
Oh, shit.
and that another missile strike thing was headed toward a military installation near Homs, but it was disrupted. But in the process, 3 civilians ended up getting injured. And Syria said, we will continue to fight against terrorism.
Damn.
So they're saying that,
This
what
is-
actually happened is, we just essentially got terrorist attacked by multiple nations. That's how they're spinning it currently. Based off what I've been reading in The Guardian, there were a few updates that came up.
No, absolutely. Let me just check the live chat real quick. So, Federal Republic of Tupos, or the Tuposian Empire, ended up having a message retract. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm sure there's another way that you could phrase it that YouTube will let you sneak in. I claim a lot of land. You do. So we're good right now. Yes, we're good right now. Things are escalating a little bit, but I think it'll just stay with words. Is China friends with us or Russia? They're sort of a weird in between. China is more economic. They're starting to grow their military, and they have a pretty strong military, but I think they sort of go as a middleman. They're in a better hemisphere to be sided with Russia, but they also keep strong trade alliances with the United States because that's where a lot of their exports go to. Damn, it's getting serious. It's getting very serious. They're calling us terrorists, but I bet they're faking it. That's very true. Because you're not there, it's really hard to figure out how much of which side is true. With bombings and things, it could sort of cover a larger area, but you never really know. It's also coming from the Assad regime, which is pretty tyrannical, so they could just be printing fake things.
It seems like another update hit The Guardian. This update is talking about how shortly after the strikes, there have been a series of protests by Syrian civilians. People with their cars, yelling at loudspeakers and stuff, flashing lights and shit. People are not happy about it. And Syrian TV called the attacks a blatant violation of international law and shows contempt for international legitimacy. It seems pretty clear that on the Syrian side of things, they are seeing it as, we have been wronged, this is not okay, this is terrorism on a world scale against us.
This is getting extremely serious. Because if that is true, I don't know that that's true. We're gonna jump into the live chat in a second. If that is true, that means that the U.S. would have to sort of face up to war crimes, which is really interesting. But even if it's not true, Syria has to face up to war crimes. So someone's having it's a pretty
fucking
big
around.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. As well, Federal Republic of Tupos, or the Tuposian Empire, is from Finland. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
I'm glad we're starting to get a little bit more world recognition, and I'm so glad that the Tuposian Empire can get more world recognition from us. I was gonna say, definitely we'll have to have another stream where we just talk about you being from Finland and how micronations are in Finland and in Europe in general. No one died though. The Calabasa, the Content King. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for subbing. Oh my gosh, so many subs. The sub love is filling me up. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Subbing means you're a member of, citizen of the Empire. So thank you so much. Glad to have you here. Should we be scared? No, I don't think we should be scared. This is definitely a political matter, but I think it's going to be handled eventually in courts. Right now, it's a battle of words, so I don't think it's to a critical point yet. We definitely have to keep updates on that. We'll have to let you know what's going on, and definitely follow the news if you're very interested in it. But I don't think it's something quite yet that you need to panic over or anything like that. It's mainly, I believe, going to be figuring out who's in the right and who's in the wrong. I really hope this isn't a spark to start a war with. I hope not. I also really hope not. That would be a terrible and scary thing for everyone involved. Coldest temperature here was 19 degrees Fahrenheit. That is insane. I wouldn't deal with it. We're in northern Alabama. And even to us, like 49 degrees, like 30 degrees is pretty cold. So negative 19 is insane. You should update for us. We are definitely updating. Mohesian Mobine, we are trying to get those updates in for you. Thank you so much for the 7 likes. I appreciate it so much. One of our like highest liked videos already. Super appreciating it. We are definitely giving you updates right now. If there's war or something, we will definitely give you an update if there's a war. But as of right now, there is nothing going on like that, Mobine. And thank you so much for the update. IC8, YouTube, what are you doing? I have no idea. It says 7 on my end. I think it is. I think Jet was right just saying that it gives you 1 extra. Maybe it's for like for guessing circumstances because it assumes you'll get another one, so it just goes ahead and prompts you saying it has another.
It actually doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I'm trying to make it make sense.
Yeah, and that's cool. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure that we cover all the additional updates that they've been throwing at us.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dun, 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 dun,
Hey
dun,
Zoe
dun, dun,
Boomer.
dun.
I'm glad you have a sad winky face, but what's going on? I'm not
What
glad you
is
have
a sad winky face?
You have a
Yeah.
winky face, and I'm glad you have the winky face. I'm sorry, it's a sad winky face. I want to turn that frown upside down. Palestine is also a problem. That is interesting. They are not a part of this conflict. And to be honest with you, I don't know enough about Palestine. I know that's a big, not only political, but religious issue for a lot of people. So I don't know how to take that one necessarily. I'd have to look a lot more into it before I can make a decision, at least like an official decision. I don't know that I'm the most educated person on that specific issue. Zoe Booman, let me know if there's a way we can not make that a winky frown, but a winky smile. Hey Krillinit, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for smashing that like button, everybody. Up to 9 likes. Really appreciate it.
I like the Krillinit name.
Yeah, right? He's Krillinit.
He's
grilling it. Hey, now I see 9, 10. Okay, we are at 9. That is official. 10, I don't know, Kirby. Sorry. Federal Republic of Tupos, thank you so much for giving us the winky smile. Always loving it. Krillin it, we're loving your name. You are absolutely Krillin it, dude.
Oh.
Hey, Krillin it's also giving us the cute winky smile. Hey, giving us a little bit of a happy.
I think you're next on the news train for the next thing we read.
It is my turn to update. Oh, Kirby, are you sticking your tongue in your mouth at this point, man?
I think he's sticking his tongue straight up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
toward his eyes.
That's a cute move. I respect it.
It's cute.
Yeah. Do I read just this little one?
Yeah.
Can I read more?
Well, then you get there are only 3 left, babe.
Okay. The U.S. Ministry of Defense said 4 tornado jets flew from Cyprus.
The
UK's Ministry of Defense said 4 tornado jets flew from Cyprus as a part of the strikes on homes. So the UK had 4 tornado jets that went to Cyprus and did the bombing. I'm the Empire of Eternity. Oh, interesting. Very similar names. That's pretty cool. I'm glad you're the Empire of Eternity. I hope your empire lasts for all of eternity. Thank you so much for the 10 likes. Kirby, now you are seeing correct numbers if you're seeing 10. Got the 10 likes, meaning the world to me.
You know he's seeing 11.
Making me smile.
He's seeing the 11.
That's true. He's probably seeing 11. But hopefully it'll get to 11. And then you can say, yeah, you're saying 11. Team 10. Team 10, definitely. We are at the Team 10 likes. You know it, fam. He said you know it, fam.
I know it, fam?
You know it, fam.
Oh, shit, I guess I know it, fam. Confirmed.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we're going to that. Buy my match. Team 10, buy my match. Will you buy his match?
Am I buying his match?
Yeah, buy my merch. Oh, buy your merch.
Oh, buy that merch. Buy that merch. Buy
Please give us
money. Wow.
Please give us money.
Please give us money.
I would love to buy your merch, but as of right now, I do not have money to buy your merch, which is a huge problem. Memes.
It's the circle of merch.
Very true.
I buy your merch after you buy my merch, which gives me money to buy your merch, and capitalism. Yeah.
Oh, so you could do that. You could buy our merch, which then we use to buy your merch. Capitalism.
It's an idea. Let's see. The next big news thing.
We'll try to buy memes, Kirby. Once it becomes a thing, we're getting in the meme economy.
Keck investing is a thing. U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis said the U.S., UK, and France had taken decisive action against Syria's chemical weapon infrastructure and did not rule out further strikes. Clearly, the Assad regime did not get the message. Last time, he said, referring to the response to the Ghouta chemical attack in 2017. He said the Allies had gone to great lengths to avoid civil and foreign casualties.
So essentially, I guess the U.S. We're doomed is what Jiren the Goer. Thank you so much for liking Jiren the Goer. Please make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking. Kirby, we're now at 11, and I'm sure you see 12. So according to this, nah, man. Yeah, we're all right. We're gonna survive. Thank you so much for subbing, Jiren the Goer. That means you are a citizen of the Empire of Aeternia. Definitely make sure to check out all of our new stuff. Help us grow our culture, our nation, everything. I love you guys so much. So, going with this, it seems like the U.S.'s standpoint is that back in 2017 they had 12 likes. Thank you so much. Back in 2017 they had another attack in Syria, a chemical attack, and when they were bombed that time, they felt like it wasn't taken seriously enough. They didn't. 13 likes. Thank you so much, Kirby. I'm sure you're seeing 14. They didn't really give a lot of attention to it. They didn't take it too seriously, and they did another chemical attack. The Assad regime did another chemical attack on their own people. So now the U.S. is responding, saying, we're doing it one more time, and if this is taken seriously, we can move forward. If not, this is going to get into more and more civilian military or civilian casualties, I believe is what they're saying. Because this time there were potentially some. Came from Nick's channel. Awesome. Thank you so much, Chupa Huevos, Fern Nuts. Good to see you. Glad you were on the channel. Glad you were jumping over. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Really appreciating the love. 14 likes. That is insane. And I can't, 15, but of course, what is this joke we made? Of course, a million times. You're going to see one more. I'm glad you came from Nick's channel. Definitely make sure to give Nick some love. Give him the subs and the likes and stuff. It's gooey. I believe everybody has just already subbed to your channel, so it's like an overflow thing. But,
I guess.
But I definitely appreciate it. So I feel like this is a really interesting thing. Are you looking up the Empire?
Oh,
Nick never reads comments.
You got a thing on? The fuck you mean?
Oh, on the Reddit. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a thing on a Reddit.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for putting me on the Reddit, or putting us on the Reddit. It's not me. It's us. Who is your emperor? Technically, I am right now. We haven't been able to hold elections or anything like that. So as of right now, I am. But that's just more because I've founded it. As we go further along, I'd like to get enough people together to hold an election and to do more serious things like that, and to sort of develop our system. But as of right now, just to sort of be the glue that binds to keep everybody together, I am. But I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your comments. I want to hear how we can grow the nation and make it better. Let me see. Nick never reads comments. Yeah, he does. Nick's all about the comments. Can we get to 69 in this stream? Let's get to 69. You were talking to my emperor. Oh, absolutely. I'm glad to hear it. From one fellow emperor to another, it is good to see you. It's good to talk to you. And I'm glad to have made a friend in Finland, across the world. Any more updates?
Whoop, checking back over at the Guardian page. We have one more thing. I think you're the last post, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
French President Emmanuel Macron said the use of chemical weapons by the Syrian regime posed an immediate danger for the Syrian people and our collective security. So France is as well just jumping on the boat, saying it's wrong for Syria to be doing these gas attacks, and that, like the British said, anytime these gas attacks would happen, there's a potential for it to go to other countries and to be used as either terrorism or as something by somebody wanting to attack that nation to sort of cause mass panic. Who are you talking about? I'm not sure what the Chupa Huevos, what your post is referring to. But if you will tell me what specific thing you're mentioning, I can tell you who you were talking about. Haha, across the Atlantic. You are across the Atlantic from us, and one day we'll have to see if we can meet up and meet our empires face to face. I defend Popstar under my king of Popstar being DDD.
It's a Kirby reference
Oh, nice.
to the games. Yeah.
Okay. Well, definitely praise to King DDD. Emperor DDD. Oh, King. Nope, King DDD. Get it? Transatlantic. Ah. Ah.
Now that one I don't know.
I also. Transatlantic. I don't know. I don't know. You'll have to give me more context.
It looks like there's a 2-minute and 49-second video with Trump talking about the situation. Would you want to watch that together and then give our thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I know what I'm hearing.
What is the transatlantic thing? So I can laugh with as many smiles as you've made, because I'm curious. Be careful of strikewu. Definitely be careful of
Strikewu?
Yeah.
You mean like a copyright strike?
We got to be careful of strikewas. Oh, thank you so much for being on my channel and then jumping off.
And it has a link in the description for the live stream.
Oh, thank you so
There we
much.
go.
I appreciate it. In talking about the emperor. Oh, yes. So I am the emperor of our micronation as of right now. Is there a king in the chat? I don't know if there's King DDD. Kirby can get you to King DDD. Can I dab? Well, that is a good question. The thing about dabbing is that you never really know when it's going to occur. Like sometimes you're just hanging out with your friends talking about political discussions, and you can't really ever figure out a good time to dab. And it's not really appropriate to dab on a live stream because you don't just want to dab on a live stream. But you did, and then you and your friend like hit heads, and I didn't realize it.
Yeah, it's fusion.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
became
fusion
one whole
happens.
thing.
We are now one person.
I hope that looked.
There's
cool on
really
the
just
live
one
stream.
live stream.
Yeah, our phones just merged together. It's amazing.
But yeah, we're gonna watch a video where Trump talks about.
I would love to see you dab. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine.
I love your streams. Thank you so much for loving my streams. I love your streams. I love you being on my streams, and I love you loving Jet's streams as well.
I was very surprised when you were like, "I love your streams." I'm like, "Chupacuelos Furnace, do you have streams?" I don't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the streams.
I watch your streams as dream streams.
Dream streams.
Bro, are you talking to the memer? He can dab. Oh, thank you so much. That's a reference to some
Jank
videos.
Heroes.
Yes, Jank Heroes, which is a thing Jet created, and it's on his channel. What am I doing? Well, we dabbed, and now we're about to be watching the response by President Trump on his response to the Syria situation.
So this will be a really quick video. I'm gonna move my laptop a good distance away.
So it doesn't pick up?
It will pick up, but I don't want it to fucking ads. I don't want it to like blow you guys away with audio. I want you guys to be able to hear it, but not like murder your ears, if that makes sense.
Also, we are doing it here. We are covering the Syria situation here. We did just dab. I'm sorry if you missed it, but we did just dab. Nah, man, just blow us away with lights.
I ordered the United States Armed Forces to launch precision strikes on targets associated with the chemical weapons capabilities of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad. A combined operation with the armed forces of France and the United Kingdom is now underway. We thank them both. Tonight I want to speak with you about why we've taken this action. 1 year ago, Assad launched a savage chemical weapons attack against his own innocent people. The United States responded with 58 missile strikes that destroyed 20% of the Syrian Air Force. Last Saturday, the Assad regime again deployed chemical weapons to slaughter innocent civilians, this time in the town of Doma, near the Syrian capital of Damascus. This massacre was a significant escalation in a pattern of chemical weapons use by that very terrible regime. The evil and the despicable attack left mothers and fathers, infants and children thrashing in pain and gasping for air. These are not the actions of a man, they are crimes of a monster instead. Following the horrors of World War I a century ago, civilized nations join together to ban chemical warfare. Chemical weapons are uniquely dangerous, not only because they inflict gruesome suffering, but because even small amounts can unleash widespread devastation. The purpose of our actions tonight is to establish a strong deterrent against the production, spread, and use of chemical weapons. Establishing this deterrent is a vital national security interest of the United States. The combined American, British, and French response to these atrocities will integrate all instruments of our national power, military, economic, and diplomatic. We are prepared to sustain this response until the Syrian regime stops its use of prohibited chemical agents.
Oh, okay. So real quick, let me fill in Chupaguevos. Sorry, guys, we just had some lag. I'm jumping back in. So Chupaguevos, what's going on? Essentially, Trump is saying that because we need to. Should I post the main abbreviation words here too? Yes, it would help.
Yeah, you can do that, Kirby.
So essentially, Trump is saying that we were watching the video of him declaring that we had launched an airstrike in Syria along with Britain and France, which is what we were talking about earlier. Thank you guys so much. 5 viewers right now. It means a lot. What we are doing is essentially the United States did an airstrike with Britain and France in Syria. What's going on is Trump's essentially saying that now, moving forward with that, the reason that they're starting that is to declare that no one should have these chemical weapons and that they're taking a stronger stance on it. Read your comment. I absolutely will. I'm so sorry that I missed it, Federal Republic of Tupos. I hope one day you will come to the capital of the Tuposian Empire to meet me. I would love to. I'm very excited about that. I hope I get to do more international trip stuff. I think it'd be really cool to meet with other micronations and to get that to a bigger level. If we get a bigger travel budget, we'll absolutely do it. If you guys have any more questions about this sort of stuff, the political stuff, definitely let me know because I can try and keep up with that in the comments. Well, all right, Maine is the reason for World War II starting. Here we go. Thank you, Kirby.
In case you're like just now tuning in and you want some context for what we're talking about, the U.S., U.K., and France, I believe I named like the right three, all did a missile strike on Syria. Syria has been doing chemical weapon tests supposedly on like its citizens, and chemical weapons are something that the United Nations do not agree with. We don't want any nation to have or use chemical weapons, especially upon its own populace. So we completed the missile strike. The U.S. is claiming, based on a video that we just watched of our President Donald Trump, we're claiming that it's a deterrent. We're trying to like get them to not use chemical weapons, and we're doing that by saying like, hey, look, you built those, we destroyed those, don't build more, we're just not cool with it. The way that Syria is taking it, at least based off of what we've heard in the news, the way that Syria is taking it is that they see it as a terrorist strike, a terrorist attack from multiple other nations against Syria. And the Russian ambassador of the U.S. is taking it as a direct assault of us, like insulting the president of Russia, insulting Vladimir Putin. The idea being that Syria and Russia are allies. So by us performing a missile strike upon Syria, it in a way is like hurting Russia's friend, and you don't hurt like our allies is the idea. You've like wronged us in that way.
Despite the fact that Syria has done something that's treacherous against its own people. So just to answer your question, Chupaguevos, he did do the letter A. The letter A stands for alliances.
Is militarism
Trunic,
alliances?
Our president is Sal Ninisto. So I guess I'm wondering, Federal Republic of Tupos, is your emperor, who you said is you, separate from your president, or is your president equal to your emperor? And do you have an actual declared emperor, or did you just equate us being an empire to your having a president? I'm low-key scared. I think everyone might be a little bit low-key scared right now, to be real with you. But I don't think it's a thing to be legitimately worried about. I think it's a thing that probably won't affect people in the U.S. I don't think it'll affect people in Europe. From my understanding, it's essentially calling out Syria for having done these chemical attacks against their own people that their own people didn't want. So that being the case, and essentially Syria and Russia saying that they weren't going to do anything about it, made the U.S., Britain, and France all decide that they needed to take action by doing these bombings.
I feel like the only reason why this isn't time to be scared territory is because it's kind of all over the place. You know, the only 3 countries that I know of, from what I've read, who have taken like a really hard-ass stance are the U.S., U.K., and France, because they like went through with a missile strike on Syria. If you look at it from Syria's point of view, either from the idea that the other nations are terrorists or the idea that they were doing chemical weapons, from the chemical weapons point of view, it's like, oh no, we got caught and they fucked up our supply. If we're gonna like continue along this path, we're gonna have to do a lot more to rebuild, and the world has like a closer eye on us. So it does seem like what we did would be a solid deterrent if they were indeed like creating chemical weapons and they were indeed testing it on their citizens. If you go by like what their media is saying and like how the people are reacting, then it's like 9/11, but like 3 different nations fucked you. It's like we weren't even like doing chemical weapons, and like now they're like attacking like educational venues, scientific labs, they're attacking military installations apparently. Like the way that their media is really spinning it is like, fuck, like they like legitimately attacked us and we didn't really do anything, and this is breaking international laws, and they're claiming we're breaking international laws. They're claiming like we're doing chemical weapon attacks. So like their perspective is hard, like everybody else is like fucking us. And then the like U.S., France, and UK. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say, I think one important thing for people to remember when taking Syria's side into account is that most of the media published out of Syria, and most of it responding to this, is from the Assad regime, which is run by specifically a dictator that most of the Assad regime, that most of their people have said do not want in power and have actively tried to overthrow him, which is the specific reason that he decided to use chemical warfare twice on his own citizens, at least twice. I bet there's no gas in that Coke.
Like, is it not
anymore.
carbonated?
It's
This shit is flat.
Yeah.
It is so flat.
Nick needs to pee.
That's pretty accurate.
He got you. He just like it.
I mean, if you've been watching the stream, you kind of already got an idea that, like, I've downed a good bit of that just during this. But I do feel like because Russia, from what I can tell, from what we've, like, read from that Guardian post, it doesn't sound like Russia's doing anything like, oh, man.
They're not taking a stance.
Yeah. The closest I've seen to a stance from Russia is they're our ally, and it's not necessarily that we like support what they did, but just if we're gonna say we're allies, then we are allies, so we can't support you attacking our allies. Even if they did fuck up, and we're not saying whether they are, like whether they did or they didn't.
But we just can't let that stand.
Yeah, we can't just like stand there, because then what does it really mean to be an alliance?
I think it's Russia trying to sort of save face with it. I think the idea is that essentially Russia knows, hey, I have 3 other pretty big Western powers that have decided on this to do this attack, but because I sided with Syria, and because it, I'm sure, is economically beneficial for us at very least, if not territorially, that it becomes a difficult situation because they still want to seem like they can stand up to the U.S. and to these other Western states. So they want to say, yeah, we don't want you attacking our things. You can't attack our things. You can't slow our progress. But they knew that if they actually tried to make an attack, if they actually went the further step to say, all right, test our shit, like, let's go, that they would probably lose. Just because it'd be a lot of other nations that start to jump on really quick and say, like, whoa, hold up.
Well, the big issue with chemical weapons is it's kind of a hard wild card. So if Syria did an attack, like a chemical weapon attack, on like big nation cities, Like, let's say Syria was like, they're gonna do terrorist shit to us. Fuck it. Like, let's like retaliate, right? Chemical weapons are like really harsh.
Yeah.
And one thing
But-
that gets me is, I know that we like bomb chemical weapon facilities as a deterrent, but I feel like that also could cause like a lot of problems, right?
No, I'm sure it does cause a lot of problems in Syria. I feel like the idea that the U.S. and these other Western nations are spinning it is the idea that, well, yes, we did blow up those facilities, and that might be causing a lot of damage, but the only reason we had to do that was because we didn't want to send our troops in to just get shot down or to have to go into a chemical attack. But we had to do that so that they don't continue to use it on their people and just make more of it. Like, we're trying to shut it down for good and just take whatever the loss is on that to prevent further losses. I feel like the difficulty with them trying to send any chemical weapons to a bigger nation is the fact that because Syria is sort of in turmoil and because they're having sort of a civil war with trying to throw Assad out, and Assad being like, fuck you guys, I'm going to just use chemical weapons and like knock out my population so they can't revolt against me. If you try, he just wouldn't have the budget or the resources to be able to like duck the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Air Force. Like, they'd try and get there or try and get to any other country, like fly there in kind of a crappy like jet or plane, and then get shot down pretty quick.
So I feel like the issue there, right, is that at some point in time, we did consider their Air Force a threat. And the only reason why I say that is because of the fact that in the Trump video, we mentioned that we like took out, thank you for smashing the like button, we took out 20% of their like Air Force at a time, which implies that we like attacked their Air Force at some point, which implies that we were like, no, like we saw something and we didn't want it. Yeah. And I can get why we did that. I actually vibe with that more, the idea of attacking their Air Force rather than like their chemical weapons thing. Because it's one thing for you to have chemical weapons, and it's one thing for you to be able to actually send them anywhere. Like, if I fuck up all your like planes, like, how are you gonna get it here?
Yeah.
So like you have as many as you want. They're not coming anywhere, you know. Yeah.
But I agree. For those other nations, it's the good idea that we're going to protect our own backs first. But it's also the idea of, well, you're still killing your own people, and we don't want you to just commit like genocide. So we're gonna.
I mean, I agree with the idea that we're trying to like protect their people.
Yeah.
But you get the additional issue of, if we destroy their chemical weapons plant and it causes like the chemical weapons to possibly go off in some way,
Yeah.
then the chemical weapons in large concentrated quantities, like rather than it being we send like a few chemical weapons here and we send a few here for like attacks, it would be like all our supply for attacks goes off at once in the same place, and it's just like a bigger like chemical thing. The fallout of that could be really bad for Syria.
And that's if the idea that these chemical weapons are just like a mixture in a bottle, which I don't believe is the case. So if it's just like a mixture in a bottle, once you break that container, then yes, it's everywhere. What I believe I understand from like chemical weapons manufacturing stuff and just like the way that chemical weapons are designed for like an attack, the substances are separated in the, like whatever the mixture is that creates the chemical weapon, the chemical agent, there's like two ionized versions of it or two versions of it that when mixed together will create that volatile reaction. But before them will actually just be two things that would be fairly easy to neutralize. Like, they still might be a little bit dangerous to health, but it's not something that will immediately kill you and cause like terrible suffering. So if you were to attack a facility that had these two separate things, you might create some of that reaction just because they mix somehow. But for the most part, I think it requires specific conditions. So because it's a manufacturing facility, they'd want to keep those things separate until they put them in the final result that they're trying to do. So there might be like a technical way to bomb it without actually getting a whole lot of it mixing.
True. I'm not sure like how technical airstrikes from like 3 different
Hey,
nations would
Frieza-san,
be.
thank you so much for liking. Thank you so much for 17 likes. I'm feeling the love. Frieza-san asked, the question is Trump's wife doable? She's from Russia. That is a political question. Hey, I don't know how I spun that into a political question, but hey,
It's not really.
it
I mean, I
is a
guess because it's the
political-
president's wife.
and yeah, and Russia and Syria, and hey,
That's a stretch. The last part's a stretch.
stretch.
When it comes to, I'd have to, like, he's asking.
That's a cute face. Chupa mi pito Nino.
Oh,
Hey.
yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you.
What am I thinking about? When it comes to whether or not you would smash Trump's wife, that's like a subjective preference thing.
Right.
So I feel like if you like Googled a picture of her, you would just be able to tell them whether or not you'd be down.
Yes. So
Did you say yes?
I
Like, was
said-
that your answer? Or was
No,
that just you
that-
saying
I
like,
understand.
yeah?
So for my personal preference, no, for a couple reasons. One, not into blondes very much. Also, she seems like she does the makeup thing pretty strong, and it's just not my preference personally. You'd have to let me know what you think. I don't think there's a standard doable equation like you were talking about. Thank you so much for 18 likes. I am feeling the love. I feel like
19.
19. Ooh, 19. Almost 20 likes. I am loving this. Thank you so much. We're almost
Can we get this video to 25 likes minimum? Minimum.
Well, because the thing is that boy is here.
Hey,
boy.
we're at 20. That
Hey,
25
20.
minimum, we're getting close.
We're getting close.
We're
to
getting
that
close.
25
Woo!
minimum.
I can
Thank you
feel
so
it.
much, boy. Thank you so much. Please make sure to subscribe. If you subscribe, you are a citizen of the empire, and it means the world to us. You can help us grow our nation, define our culture, and you can answer the question. 20 and no dislikes. Hey,
Feeling fresh.
You can help us answer the question that Frieza-san posted. Is Trump's wife doable? And from what we've understood, that's an opinion thing, not a subjective thing.
Oh, Kirby
Damn,
said.
went down to 19. Gotta like us again. Gotta give us love.
Kirby said,
Come
don't
on.
forget either that U.S., France, and Great Britain were
20.
the
Hey,
allies
thank
of
you so
World War
much.
II. He said, the same three nations. Then he said, at Dookie Dropper, Empire of Aeternia. So, when it comes to that, he mentioned that the same three nations were allies in World War II as the ones that committed the airstrike against Syria.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Brace your eyes. Like, yeah, the big
Definitely.
flash of light.
Yeah. So
I could just cover the camera whenever
the
that
same
happens.
three
I shouldn't
allies
just say brace your eyes.
were allies in World War II. That's very true, Kirby. The crazy thing about that is, I guess if lines were to be drawn again very similarly, it might become a similar solar flare. Yeah, it was crazy, Kirby. Do you see 22 likes? Because we are at 21. 21. Thank
We're
you
almost
guys so
at the
much.
25 minimum.
Almost at 25. 2 people watching, feeling the love. Hey, solar flare. Hey, what's up, Macanonis Chupapitos? I don't know if this is the same account or if it's different. Like, I'm sure it's different accounts, but I don't know if it's the same person or different people.
Who have like the Spanish names?
Yeah.
That are like
Specifically
inappropriate
as-
phrases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Macanonis Chupapitos? 22. There are, so you're seeing 22? It is 21 right now, but we are getting close.
We already know.
Yeah. It's getting to 22.
Yeah. It is getting 25 minimum.
21?
So when it comes to the situation, I feel like until
22, hey.
until we see how the world views it outside of the nations that are directly involved, we don't really know
Smoke
where it's
weed
going
on
to
stream.
go.
What's up, dude?
So what we have going on, no, you're fine. So what we have going on is Syria's going to say it was terrorism. U.S., France, and the U.K. are going to say that it's like a deterrent against chemical weapons use. And then we know that Russia is going to say that the UK, France, and US wronged, didn't necessarily wrong Syria without cause,
So much.
but essentially said that Syria is our ally and should not be like on your hit list. Like if you're hitting Syria, in a way, it's like you're offending us. So
But they got to deal with that like international backlash of, well, we're kind of in the wrong if we support Syria. So I think you're right. They're trying not to directly support Syria in like a moral sense,
but
they're
more,
like,
it's our obligation.
right, because they're our ally.
Do we know other allies of Russia or
24.
Syria?
We are almost there.
We are
Fern
almost
Nuts
there.
Big Balls came from Nick's stream. Thank you guys so much. Smoke Weed on stream and Fern Nuts Big Balls. Please make sure if you haven't already, subscribe. Definitely make sure to check us out. If you subscribe, you become a citizen of the empire, and you can help us define our culture,
Oh,
grow
Matt
our
slaps
nation.
her. What's up? I'm sorry. I interrupted the show.
Hey, what's up? And to do all that. Sam, hi. Iran is an ally for Russia and Syria. Hey, Sam Hal, how are you? Thank you so much for joining the stream, helping us talk about Syria.
What? Iran is an ally of Russia and Syria?
Yeah.
Why haven't I? That should have been the Guardian article. That was very relevant.
Very true.
You're at 25. You hit the minimum, dude.
Hey, thank you guys so much for the 25 likes. I was going to say Sam High, smoke weed on stream, and for Nuts Big Balls. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Become a citizen. Help us grow our culture, our nation, and become exactly what you want us to be. Kisuki Uhara, thank you so much for joining us. Same thing. So here's a like. 26. Boom, awesome. Killing it over that. We are not at war. Don't worry. Kisuke Uhara. We are not at war. Uhara. Thank you so much.
Matt Slatzer said, Trump doing the right thing. They gassed kids. It is a very odd setup we're at, because I wonder which will people think is more serious if you assume everyone's telling the truth.
Right.
So if you assume that the U.S., U.K., and France, as well as Syria, are telling the truth.
Don't be scared. You're good.
Then you would have to say which is worse.
Right.
Trying to, prevent chemical weapon attacks in the future by doing, a preventative measure.
Thank you so much.
Or is it worse that a terrorist attack was done? Because if you assume that what Syria is saying is true, and things that were not chemical weapons facilities were hit, then it kind of is against the whole, we were just trying to do a preventative.
Hey guys, thank you so much. Yeah, we just actually fell offline, but we are back now. 27 likes. Thank you guys so much.
I gotta do the light switch.
Yeah, we are in complete darkness. This is the darkness mode of the stream. I'm a Jordanian. Last night, 10 fighter jets started flying really low within 20 minutes. Oh, dang. Sam
Block
Howe.
your camera.
Watch out, guys. I'm protecting you.
Can you block my camera?
Yes, I'm protecting both cameras. This is intense. Brace your eyes, everybody. Here we go. All right. We're good. So interesting. Jordan Howe, who is now a citizen of the Empire, thank you so much, said, I'm a Jordanian, and last night, 10 fighter jets started flying really low within 20 minutes. So that's really interesting. He might have seen something from that, or maybe seen a response to it from other nations.
Where is he located?
Jordan. The country, I believe it's northern Africa. I could be wrong.
I don't know enough about stuff like that.
Can we look it up? I would be interested.
Oh, Jordan?
Yeah, because I don't want to be wrong. I want to incorrect. It was around 3 a.m. Still can't sleep. It's 10:30 a.m. now. Damn, that's terrible, Sam. I'm so sorry to hear it. It's south to Syria. Jordan is south to Syria. Thank you so much for correcting us, Sam. Really appreciate it. 28 likes, almost to 30. Thank you guys so much. Winslow. Hey, Vegeta. How you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. Right between Iran, Syria, Israel, and Saudi Arabia. So you were in the mix of that. You were pretty nearby. That's crazy. I hope everything's okay there. I hope you and your family are all right. I hope your community's all right. I know the attack wasn't there, but still, that's a scary situation to be in.
Kirby said, well, if it wasn't actually a weapons facility, then this will be more of an example against chemical weapons.
That's very true, just to make that point. And I think that's...
the issue there is if there wasn't actually one.
Oh,
that's what he said.
Oh.
I feel like the way it would really go would be so you guys
Vegeta,
are
killing it. Thank you so much. Make sure to subscribe. 29 likes, almost.
Yeah. 30 is where we're at, almost. Because we're at 29 right now.
I'm really liking Sam's comments. He's definitely given us some interesting input. Yeah, so it's fine, but people are really scared this time. It feels different to us, and we're used to war all the time. First off, 30 likes. Thank you guys so much. But to get to what what Sam's saying, excuse me, which is pretty serious. He's saying they're used to war all the time. War is a terribly scary thing. I've never been a part of it myself, and I know it's just an awful thing. Dealing with the attacks in Syria and dealing with how larger nations and different nations outside of Jordan, outside of the Middle East, are dealing with that. How does that feel to someone who's in the mix of that? How does that feel Do you feel like that's a protection thing as far as other countries coming in and helping to handle potentially volatile situations? Or do you feel like it's something that's potentially escalating the situation to a larger degree than it might have been originally? Do you feel like it's a help or a hindrance or a mix of both?
I feel like, answering like Kirby's question.
Yeah.
If they didn't actually hit chemical weapons, and they, as Syrian media described, just essentially did a terrorist attack, the consequences of that would be like very tremendous. Essentially, you would be saying that three massive powers essentially like
Attack
bullied a
civilians.
nation, and then tried to use international law as a cover.
Right.
And I feel like that is such a strong claim that I feel like some nations will just be like pushed more likely to just say like we should really listen to that. Because if it is that case and we just like shrug it off like nah, Syria, quit playing,
then other countries can do the same thing and it gets worse and worse, and then you have countries having to respond to that specifically, which would make a whole nother like international crisis.
And one thing that's interesting is all you would have to do on either side to like play this game would be if Syria wants to claim that like weapon facilities weren't hit, but these other things were, they could just hit them themselves. Like they could just be like, oh, I just look at all this damage and destruction. And this is what happened from the strike.
And that could actually be a thing that Syria does, especially under the Assad regime, because they would want to make themselves look good because they don't look good to their people. So their people are going to say, no, everything's being bombed by our own government and by other countries. Sam, I would be scared if I was in your shoes because it is an absolutely very scary thing. Sam said, I mean, an outsider is pretty obvious that everything the U.S. government does is against what the American people really want. And the only one who can see the truth are the American people, sadly. I am scared. That is a really interesting viewpoint. I think it's really interesting. From my personal opinion of it and from what I've seen in U.S. politics, people feel like a lot of the time either one of two ways, that they aren't represented by the government in one faction or another, that it just doesn't ever really completely represent anybody, and so these broad strokes actions like this that have to be quick decisions can get a lot of backlash for good reason. But at the same time, I also feel like there are a lot of people in the United States, especially coming under the Trump presidency, who will see things that are sort of just blatantly against even what the candidate might have gone in initially saying or initially promoting, and will just follow it because they're following a political party or a specific candidate without necessarily taking into account how that affects their own morals and their own ideas.
That's more outside my personal scope.
Okay.
Yeah. My big thing is less about taking a side or talk about how sides have been taken.
Right.
But rather looking at what like everyone is like thinking about. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And try and figure out what are the consequences of what everyone thinks is happening and how they'll act based on how they're thinking. Kirby said, unfortunately, if I see a jet, I would have a different reaction.
I mean, I'd be a little bit intimidated if it was another country's jet and it was flying like near where I was, and all this news reports were coming out about bombings in these countries that are really close to me. I don't know. I'd be a little bit intimidated for sure, or at least curious as to what's going on. Because that just sounds like a really intense situation.
Let's see. Wargaming said, was it my guided missile in Fortnite?
I doubt it. If it was, that's an impressive in-game, out-game interaction.
I like how you said in-game, out-game. So the implication of that would be the idea that things that you did in Fortnite could somehow translate into like what happens in real life.
31 likes. Thank you guys so much.
Which would be interesting, I guess. Kirby said, I have an interest in planes, so if I see a jet, I would be like, ooh, a jet.
And that's a pretty cool idea, just to learn more about them.
Sorry, we're experiencing some lag.
Mirita Yeeha
Sorry about
joined
the
the
lag.
stream and said, "Hey, subbed. Thank you so much. Subbing
Still
to the
lagging.
channel means that you are. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You're cool, Mirita. It's
Mierda.
Mierda. Oh, my apologies, Mierda. I was just gonna say real quick, Mierda. Subbing means that you are a citizen of the Aeternia and that you are gainful citizenship and are able to help us create our culture and define our nation. I'm glad I said it right. I don't want to mispronounce anybody's name, their screen name, anything like that. Sam said it was 10 jets in 20 minutes, one every 2 minutes, and it shook my house like an earthquake. Car alarm started going off, people turned their lights off, and it was really scary. Damn. Especially for a whole community to sort of have that situation go on, to have that news happen, and then for everybody to have to start like talking amongst each other because they don't have a certainty as of what's going on. I mean, even news outlets at that time didn't have a certainty of what was going on because it was all kept very, very under wraps until after it happened. And then there's a Sorry guys, we just jumped off. I'll sub. You guys seem reasonable, which is rare nowadays. Thank you so much. Please do become a citizen of the Empire. We just experienced a little bit of lag. If we do again, I'm sorry. But yeah, having that whole situation happen where you just don't know what's going on, it would seem like a scary thing.
One thing that's interesting about the we don't know what's going on. A lot of people who are jumping in the live chat are saying things like, I'm scared. Are we going to war? Tell us if we're going to war.
Right.
Keep us updated. I feel like the issue is because there are so many different viewpoints that are being taken.
Very nice.
Yeah, you may just have hard lag. That's not even freeze anymore.
Damn. Sorry guys, it's a pretty bad lag as of right now. I'm trying to fix it, trying to figure out what's going on, but being difficult.
Yeah, Wargaming said, ha?
Ha?
Ha!
But is there, are there any more updates, or was the last one like an hour ago?
So, like, oh, that
Hey
was
guys,
just straight up
sorry so
terrorism.
much. I had to jump off for a second. The stream was messing up. So let me just go back into the live chat real quick. We are in Alabama. Thank you so much for subbing to us, Sam. And of course, there are always going to be secrets kept by respective governments. Very true. Kirby, you're from California. That's super cool. I didn't know. I'm glad to hear you. They're from Alabama, Georgia. One of the two, but it's not the second one. I've always wanted to visit California. I also want to go to California. California is definitely like a dream state to go to school in. Alabama is in the south. That's right, Sam Howell. Oh, wait, crap, Alabama is the state. Yes, my geography failed me. You're good. Ice Swallow Cum. Thank you so much. I'm glad you subbed. Thank you so much.
The name.
Oh, shit, you
Did
got
you just
me.
get it?
You fucking got...
You always got to read
I'm
them
so
ahead.
stupid.
Do you
You're
get
right.
Bernie's yet?
No.
His last name is Gers.
Oh!
I was like, you probably shouldn't say his full name. A lot of these people's
You're
names are like
absolutely right.
that.
They're like memes. Oh,
Yes.
shit. I'm so sorry. I did not even realize. Well, you got me. Okay. Ha ha ha. Easiest troll ever. You're right. You got me. That's fair.
We actually have an update from 1 minute ago. Asked how the Prime Minister would address MP's concerns when she returns to Parliament on Monday, Williamson said, he said, the speed in which we're acting is essential. We've been cooperating with our partners to alleviate further humanitarian suffering and to maintain the vital security of our operations. He went on, as you've touched upon, the Prime Minister will be going, but also protecting our
thank you so
national
much for that.
security. We have to make those decisions, and quite understandably, Parliament holds government to account for decisions it makes. But it is about doing the right thing. It is about actually protecting those innocent people that the Assad regime has so little care for and are quite comfortable in terms of using chemical weapons against them.
Yes, we just dropped off stream.
It's just frankly not, and we have to take action to stop that in the future, and that's what we did last night. So that was another recent statement.
One interesting thing, Sam just threw in some new information. So he said Jordan local news are saying the Syrian air defense has shot down 13 missiles. I'm just trying to tell you who the news over here is saying. No, absolutely. Thank you so much for giving us another opinion, because I feel like it's not helping a whole lot.
Okay, we're gonna give Winslow a moment to close out on that.
Hey guys, thank you so much for, Jordan is a country swallower. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're having a ton of lag, so I think I'm just going to cut it off here. But thanks so much.
Are we gonna try and end both? Are we gonna try and carry what's left of what we'd like to discuss on this? Do piece of news, and I think the last few updates. So again, the headline is,
Hey, what's going on?
Iran's supreme leader condemns airstrikes. So Iran's supreme leader, and then they list his name. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Mm-hmm. A staunch ally of Bashar al-Assad condemned Saturday's U.S.-led airstrikes on Syria. Mm-hmm. Describing the leaders of the three countries involved in the attack as criminals. I clearly declare that the U.S. president, the French president, and the UK Prime Minister are criminals and have committed a crime, he said on Saturday, state agencies reported. Tehran's foreign ministry also said in a statement that the aggression is a flagrant violation of international law and a disregard of Syria's right to national sovereignty and territorial integrity, Iranian media reported. Based on religious, legal, and ethical regulations, Iran opposes any use of chemical weapons, but at the same time strongly rejects and condemns the fabrication of excuses to invade an independent country, the foreign ministry's statement said. There is no doubt that the U.S. and its allies that are engaged a military intervention in Syria without any substantiated document and before any final report of the Organization for Prohibition for Chemical Weapons, and have supposed themselves as the world police and judge, are responsible for regional and international repercussions of the adventure and should be held accountable, he said. Iran, which has been propping up Assad since the conflict began, has provided the Syrian government with crucial ground support thanks to a combination of Hezbollah fighters, Shia volunteers from across the Middle East, and its own revolutionary guards. Russia and Iranian backing has swung the conflict in Assad's favor, at the same time as the so-called Caliphate of the Islamic State, ISIS, has crumbled. Its remaining fighters have been pushed back to a modest piece of land along the Euphrates Valley near the Iraqi border. The post-ISIS era has also changed the dynamic of the war. However, in Israel, which is concerned about Iran's growing influence on its doorstep, has become more involved militarily. An Israeli airstrike on a Syrian airbase near Homs on Sunday killed at least 7 Iranian military personnel in an incident that Tehran vowed would not be left unanswered. Khamenei's, I probably butchered that, top advisor on foreign policy, Ali Akbar Velayati, again, sorry for butchering the name, met with Assad in Damascus ahead of the airstrikes, reiterating Tehran now have 3 nations versus 3 nations here, and I find that really interesting. So the report that we just read, this is fresh information posted 4 minutes ago on The Guardian, says that Iran, and they also stated Russia, are backing Syria's claim that this is a war crime that's then presented, that's been committed by the U.S., France, and the UK.
Damn.
So yeah, Kirby said, oh boy, more alliances. We now have 3 countries solidly saying this is terrorism, and 3 countries solidly saying that this was a deterrent action.
It's insane that Russia's stepping in now, because Russia's stepping in and officially declaring that. I mean, having Iran's backing is a big deal as well, but having Russia's backing essentially is saying that, yes, it's a war crime, so the more it escalates, the more Russia might start to push, which might lead to a potential conflict.
It does sound like it's escalated even more. ICE is asking if you're worried.
I'm not worried yet. I am worried about how this will lead into the future of things. I wonder what precedents this will set for the future of world politics. I don't think anybody's ready to go to war or wants to go to war yet. So no, I'm not worried in the sense of my mortal danger. I'm concerned for the way that world politics is going and that it seems like people are getting more divisive instead of more unifying. But I feel like there's always the chance that things could go even further south. So as things progress, we'll see how that goes.
This definitely feels like more of a case of international law getting like slippery slope as fuck.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where it needs to be somebody better prove something, and even if the US, UK, and France can all say without a doubt that yes, there were chemical weapons in Syria, and yes, we sent missiles specifically to strike that, and yes, we did destroy facilities, if the other claims made in this news article are correct, stating that like there are procedures for doing that, and that they didn't follow those, and they just kind of like decided that we're going to be judge, jury, and executioner on that, all of them are still fucked. Like, US, UK, and France would all still be in the wrong, and Syria would also be in the wrong. So it sounds like if you take that statement as true, everybody fucked up.
That's true.
And I don't know how we normally handle that. Like, what do you normally do when everyone's wrong?
Well, that's the weird thing about the way that nations work. It's either going to make a really beautiful precedent or a really terrible one. Because in most situations like that, a country wants to save face for themselves. So they want to end up on top of it. So they're going to say, we didn't do anything wrong. It was you guys, and this is why. So if everybody's saying that, it could just escalate into a war. However, if there becomes a precedent for them all just sitting down in front of a UN council or whatever and saying we all had a part in this, and it was a terrible situation from the beginning, then it would become a thing where, oh, thank you for the 33rd like. It means a lot.
And thank you for boosting this up to 4. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Your boy Richard just subbed.
Ooh, thank you so much, Richard. It means a lot. Becoming a sub means becoming a citizen of the empire and helping us to grow our culture and develop our nation, as well as figure out what we're going to talk about on these streams. So thank you so much. But I feel like if they all just agreed we fucked up together and decided this is the way that we're handling this, that everybody had a part to play, it'll set a new thing in motion where countries will have to start doing that more, that people will have to come to terms with. You can't just spin it anymore. You can't just say everybody else is wrong and we're right, like would be the more ideal case, the case that they try to go to more quickly. Richard, because your first thing is dick on the thing. Richard is definitely a shorthand for it, or a longhand.
It's a longhand, yeah. It's making it longer.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. So, what's interesting about it is that what is the real solution? Like, if everyone did fuck up, then it's not like we need to make laws tighter, because it sounds like, based off the claim made by Iran, is that US, France, and the UK didn't follow things that are already in place to take the action they took.
Right.
And then what the US, France, and the UK would say about Syria is like, we have like rules against chemical weapons, and they didn't follow those rules.
But because of the aftermath of those bombings and potential casualties that left, that was outside of what it was supposed to be, how do you define those lines? I think that is a really good question to sort of end the stream on. What do you think is going to be the new precedent for this? What do you think is the important question that comes out of this?
Before we end it, and I know that you want to, because we're having like connection issues, and also because it's late, and also I got to wake up early.
Yeah.
Literally 15 seconds ago.
Okay.
Putin.
Oh.
Yeah, like a straight up Russia
Putin
thing.
Just gave some news. Let's check this out.
The headline is Putin airstrikes an act of aggression. Russian President Vladimir Putin, in a statement, called the U.S.-led airstrikes against Syria an act of aggression. Putin said that Russia would convene an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council to discuss the aggressive actions of the United States and its allies. Russia, in the most serious way, condemns the attack on Syria, where Russian servicemen are helping the legitimate government in its fight with terrorism. The statement said, according to reports from Russian news agencies. So now we have a straight-up statement from Iran saying that we back Syria. We have a straight-up statement from Russia saying we back Syria. We have Syrian news saying that this is terrorism. We have Iran saying it's terrorism. We have Russia saying it's terrorism. So all three of them are saying that the US, UK, and France just committed a terrorist act that violates international law, and Russia is straight up saying we're taking y'all niggas to international court, nation court, and we're gonna settle in court. And then U.S.
Well, the Security Council is it's absolutely court, but it's also a potential thing that can militarize quickly. So it's also an emergency thing. It's
and he even
hey,
said an emergency meeting.
So that's the crazy thing about it. It's 3 against 3. It's three very Western
even.
powers and 3 very I don't know if you call it Eastern, but other regional powers coming together and saying, this is our side, this is our side. I wonder how that's going to play out, and I wonder if that shows any bias in the UN,
how is that going to go?
Yeah.
I feel like the issue is that Syria, Russia, and Iran are all probably going to be more likely to say let's go to war than US, UK, and France, because I feel like US, UK, and France are just going to be it was just a deterrent. We just don't want people to be making chemical weapons. As we've all agreed in the past, we don't need to do chemical weapons. And then what Syria, Iran, and Russia are going to say is, well, there's protocol for that. Protocol that we've all agreed on. And you didn't take that protocol, and by not doing so, that is terrorism. And then it's which is worse?
So, Nickabenson,
but not me.
But not you. Nickabenson said, wow, so are we good or no, Winslow? So we are good
it's
as of
ice.
right now. But
Stop.
We are good, but it's a slippery slope.
It's way slipperier than it was an hour ago. It's significantly worse.
What we can do, if you guys want to, we can definitely give you a secondary update video. If you have busy stuff going on, I definitely will. Because I don't know about all this. This is getting crazy.
What are you doing later today? I know I'll be at Collins. I'll be hanging out at Collins.
I should be free. I have some homework stuff to do.
You have some homework stuff to do?
I should be free up until the evening.
Are you fine with pushing it for 9 more minutes?
Yes, I'm fine.
Okay, Kirby said if anything, UK, USA, and France were terrorists against chemical weapons.
Not the countries themselves. Right now, you gonna? Not yet. We're not going
offline yet.
Yet. We still have a few more minutes.
We have a few more minutes. 8 seconds ago, got a new thing.
New updates.
Because I knew with the Russia thing, there's no way there's not another thing coming out. So the headline is Corbyn airstrikes legally questionable. Jeremy Corbyn, leader of the Labour Party, has responding to the Syrian airstrikes, calling them legally questionable. Bombs won't save lives or bring about peace. This legally questionable action risks escalating further as U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis has admitted an already devastating conflict and therefore makes real accountability for war crimes and use of chemical weapons less, not more likely. Britain should be playing a leadership role to bring about a ceasefire in the conflict, not taking instructions from Washington and putting British military personnel in harm's way. Theresa May should have sought parliamentary approval, not trailed after Donald Trump. The government should do whatever possible to push Russia and the United States to agree to an independent UN-led investigation of last weekend's horrific chemical weapons attack so that those responsible can be held to account. I actually really fuck with what he's saying, because I agree that it seems like US, UK, and France, taking what everyone said into account, jumped the gun, even though they're like, we're trying to stop chemical weapons, it does sound like
They made the final decision.
yeah, there's like some shit that you gotta do to like get to that point. You don't just do it, you gotta like work toward it.
I will say though, Trump himself has before just U.S. alone bombed Syria, like just by himself, and I think it was on a military installation directly, or maybe like out in the desert, so it was less of a thing. But to be honest with you, I don't know enough about that to
I also
declare
don't
for
know
sure.
enough about that.
So Nick, is this what I'm thinking? It's like we're one. Yep, you are one. You are one.
Kirby said, "Have you seen one of my previous messages, Winslow?"
I didn't. Let me check. If anything, U.S. not
I
the
read that
countries
one.
themselves.
Yeah.
Please don't bring militarism into the risk.
And then he said, "Oh, more alliances." He's essentially saying it's looking a lot like Maine, though. Da-na-na-na.
It's
Like,
getting
yeah.
close. The investigators were supposed to get to Syria today. They were on their way, but the U.S. didn't wait for an investigation.
Because the U.S. didn't wait for shit,
Yeah.
and neither did the U.K., and neither did France. They jumped the gun. That's
Very
really
true.
annoying.
But at the same time, I guess they felt like they needed to make a decision. You can see it better on Nick's comment section.
On
Okay.
the live chat over here.
Gotcha. What you got, Kirby?
Ice said, yo,
Yo.
good to see you, Ice. Wargaming said, black dude seems chill. Thank you, Wargaming. Ice said, so did Winslow stop streaming? Almost. Richard said, hey. Yo, Richard, good to see you.
Hey.
But goodness.
Yes.
It's a lot worse than an hour ago.
But it
keeps feeding more news.
Hey guys, reconnected. We've got some more news. We've
Yeah.
got some more stuff.
So, this one doesn't have a fancy headline.
Right.
That's weird. At the Elise I may mess up. I butcher things like this. Crap, 9 seconds ago.
Okay.
So I'm gonna read the latest thing first. So the 9 seconds ago one. The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has offered his support to the actions taken by U.S., U.K., and France. In a statement, he said,
Don't read the whole statement. Just
"Don't read it.
nah.
Just say
read that.
Canada
Yeah.
agrees with U.S.,
Canada.
U.K., France." So it's 4-on-3 now.
Yeah. It's getting to be interesting.
It's
I wonder
very
if anybody
interesting.
will jump on the other side.
Well, I don't know what this one is. Like the one that was 2 minutes ago.
Okay.
So Angelique. Oh, wait, sorry. I was reading the author's name. So at the Elysee Palace, where diplomatic and military staff had been awake all night, the focus was on stressing that French President Emmanuel Macron's clearly stated red line on chemical weapons use in Syria had been overstepped, as well as international treaties on chemical weapons, and that the French action was legal, proportional, and targeted. Sources at the Elysee emphasized Macron's diplomatic efforts yesterday, describing his phone conversation with the Russian leader Vladimir Putin as key. Macron was the only leader of the US, UK, French coalition to speak directly to Putin on Friday as airstrikes were being prepared. So it sounds like France was like, I'm not going to fuck up. I
Yeah.
know exactly what I'm doing. I'm
But-
gonna tell somebody. Hey,
But at the same time, it seems like that could have fueled even more. Because imagine if Macron called Putin and was like, "Hey,"
sorry, I got a little bit of lag.
so if Macron called Putin and he was like,
Sorry,
"Hey, what's going on? We're like about to send airstrikes right now," and he's like,
Putin's like, what the fuck?
No, but-
Why didn't anybody else call me?
"No," but he's just like, "We're just gonna we support them. Like, what are you talking about?" And he's like, he supports some guys, and the U.S. is like, "Well, shit, let's go."
I mean, that really does fuck with me because it sounds like from the UK, like Prime Minister didn't clear anything with Parliament. She was just like, okay, cool, we're
I mean,
just gonna
that's
do the
what
airstrike.
Donald Trump did too. He didn't clear it with Congress, but because it's like a slow process for Parliament or Congress.
And then the French government took like a very hard, like, we have procedures, but it still doesn't sound like on the international level that
Nobody
France
did.
did what they were supposed to. Yeah, nobody did.
Yeah.
So it's still a big international law problem on all sides. It's weird to see Canada jump in.
We're also experiencing a little bit of lag, so just in case we cut out, I'm going to be trying to jump back on. I'll give a sign out before we fully dip.
So I kind of want to... I'm going to mentally read over the Canada thing real quick.
When will you stream more? We will be streaming pretty recently, pretty frequently as well, especially with you guys loving the streams so much. We probably want to... Hey, so we just jumped back on. Sorry about that, having some lag. So we will stream more. I'm going to definitely be doing another one at very least to cover the... Hey, so like I said, I'm gonna be doing a follow-up to this one just to give like a final conclusion thing, especially because we've been having some lag. But we will be streaming more, so definitely keep updated, Nickabenson, but not that Nickabenson. We get too much lag. Final thoughts, Jet?
Let's see. So final thoughts.
Yes.
I feel like when everyone goes to the UN, if the current alliances that we have set don't change, that the U.S. will have a good ally who's outside of everything to talk for them. Because Canada can be like, we didn't fuck up with international law, but we're supporting what they did because X, Y, and Z. And I feel like if the U.S., UK, France side, and Canada win, like let's say there's like a winner and a loser rather than both sides losing, then it'll make laws on preventative measures be more loose.
Right.
Like if they win, they'll essentially argue what we did was in the right, which means that it should be like easier for you to do that. Yeah. There shouldn't be as much red tape that we have to go through because our strike helped prevent something worse that was happening in Syria.
Right.
And if the Syria side wins, then it's the opposite. We need more red tape on doing preventative strikes, stuff like that, or at the very least, higher consequences for people who just ripping through the red tape and just doing whatever they want.
Right.
And I feel like that is actually what we're talking about at this point.
Right. Not necessarily full-fledged war. Right.
Like even if we did have full-fledged war. So Syria, remembering country names shouldn't be this hard. Syria, Russia, and Iran are going to be saying this was terrorism, but regardless of that, it also would probably put more scrutiny on like what a preventative strike is, what you're allowed to hit, like with your missiles, and how precise should they be. If you're claiming, so I do feel like that is the issue at hand here. It's like international legal policy.
Second channel. He's a second channel of yours. No, but I completely agree. I think that it definitely will set like a legal precedent in international law, no matter what way this goes. I'm really interested to see what other countries join each side as this goes to essentially international court, and how not only U.S. politics favors this, but how world politics favors this, how it ends up in each country getting its new spins and its new updates. But let me know what you guys think. Definitely let me know what you feel like the big question of all this is, and also who you feel like is more in the right from the evidence that you've gathered so far. At very least, I'm going to be in the live chat of this video at the end of it.
Oh.
Okay.
So we do have a new thing.
Okay.
Real quick.
New
Like
update.
I'm not gonna read the whole thing.
We'll talk
I've been
about
skimming.
it more. We'll talk about it more next one.
So
Follow-up.
essentially, all it is Russia's going like full in on the Syria thing. It's not just them saying, "Oh, it was like an act of terrorism." It's them saying, like Putin also repeated Russian insistences that the country had found no evidence of the chemical weapons attack in the Damascus suburb of Doma that led to Saturday morning's airstrike. So Russia is going to claim that like there were no chemical weapons, supporting the idea that it was indeed a terrorist attack by the US, UK, and France on Syria.
Damn.
So they're really going to push that. Like it's not about policy, it's not a preventative strike. That is a cover-up for a terrorist attack. It's like
That's
what they're
insane.
pushing. They're pushing that really hard.
Okay. That is insane. We will definitely have to bring that up next live stream. We're gonna do a follow-up of this at very least. So it's a terrorist attack. It could be considered, but we don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of he said, she said, by
Russia
the
said,
seashore.
yeah.
You know, like.
So definitely we are going to revisit this in another episode. What the fuck, Winslow? I thought you said we shouldn't be scared. You should not be scared.
Slippery slope. It's hard to do a hard you should or should not be scared I feel the best thing to say is you should take it with a grain of salt.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
a lot going on, and it's just important to look at the facts and try to stay updated.
Kirby said it's more of an example against chemical weapons if Syria wins.
I'm not sure about that, but we will have to continue that and this whole discussion on our next follow-up stream talking about this same topic. So if you're interested in the topic, if you're interested in seeing how this plays out in the next couple days, definitely make sure to check out that next stream. Thank you so much for watching, and again, please let us know what you think about this. I'm going to be down in the comments later figuring out everybody's side and adding my own stuff in as well. So thank you so much for watching. This has been AP, Emperor AP, logging out with
Jet Black, the one and only.
Have a good night, guys.
Well, it looks like we are signing out for now. It looks like your interface is in the way. There you go.